Thank you very much, Pete. Ambassador Manoj Bharati is not just dealing with economic diplomacy, which is the main justification for his presence here. He also deals with states, and I just wanted to draw the attention of this audience to the fact that we now have a nodal officer in the Ministry of External Affairs who deals with states. It's interesting, in a federal polity like India, it's not always easy. It's not like the center or the Delhi decides something and something happens in Chennai. The Chennai people have a very healthy contempt for Delhi, actually. So you can decide what you want, but states are going to be on autopilot. So I think it's wonderful we have, it's a very recent development. And I'm particularly happy that Ambassador Manoj Bharati not only deals with economic diplomacy, but he also deals with states. It's very good for the states to have a nodal point so that coordination becomes easy. But Manoj, it's with great pleasure that I give you the floor.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, sir, for inviting MEA, and thank you must be said to Foreign Secretary for asking me to come here for this session. He has been of this view that different officers in the ministry should be representing in different sessions. So I am fortunate to be here for this particular session. You have actually spoken, sir, about this economic diplomacy in states division, which is actually a very recent phenomenon, but the important part is it started with Prime Minister's concept of cooperative federalism, which he spoke about sometime in January 2015, if I am not wrong. And since then, the idea of involving the Ministry of External Affairs with the affairs of the state and with the interests of the state has been increasing. IFS officers were asked to adopt one particular state and visit that state many times during their career as ambassadors to different countries, and I was ambassador at that time to Belarus first and then to Ukraine. Whenever we came to India, we were asked to go to the state and discuss with the state authorities as to what we can do for the state or what is their interest in our country. And this used to happen with different other countries. Now, when I have come here and I have been given the charge to look after the economic diplomacy in states division, I must point this out that the original idea is that whatever activity takes place, economic particularly, but otherwise as well, whether it is trade, commerce, or investment, it actually happens from the land of a particular state. So, states have a lot of say in what way they would like to see the policies develop or policies being implemented. And that is where I and my division play a role. Yesterday and day before, I was in Assam as part of the same exercise, where I was reminded repeatedly as to how important is India's Act East policy and what is the importance of Assam in playing that role that India intends to have towards its Act East policy. So before that, I was in Orissa, and I am here in this desk only for the last nearly 2 months, 2.5 months. So it's not bad going, considering that we are taking too many other things on our shoulder. So this is one. The second thing which I would like to mention is that this whole thing, that is why I requested the chairman to give me the floor towards the end, so that I can learn from the other people's speech and find out as to what I'm supposed to say. Because otherwise I'll be rambling nonsensical things which won't make any sense. Now, the topic, initiative on global development, is actually very close to the central point of India's development story. And when I say this, I would like to draw all your attention to the Prime Minister's speech at Davos last year, where he gave solutions from Indian scriptures to the basic problems facing the world. And one of the main points that he had said was that we would like to share with the world what we have. And this comes out from a very ancient saying in India. And I'll read out the shlok in Sanskrit, which says, Ayam nijah paroveti ganana laguchet sam udara charita nam tu vasudhaiv kutumbakam. It means, this is mine and that is yours, is the thinking of narrow-minded people. People with wider perspective consider the entire world as one family, as their family. And this phrase, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, is also one of the main pillars of India's foreign policy, which means the whole world is one family. This whole concept, when I heard Professor Sachin Chaturvedi speaking about the details of this concept, I was repeatedly drawn to this idea that India actually does not see economic development as the final goal. I mean, I keep giving, I used to keep giving lectures in both Belarus and Ukraine, where I'll start with the map of the globe and I'll ask the audience, can you tell me what is the unique feature of India just by looking at this map? Each country is unique, but India's uniqueness comes right from the map of the globe. And you know what? India is the only country in the world after which an ocean has been named, Indian Ocean. There is no other country. And that is primarily because, I would say mainly because, India has been known as a country of wealth and wisdom since ancient times. And it is that wisdom that I am aiming at. Because India's aim to economic growth is only a path to achieve that status, to be considered as a country of wealth as well as wisdom. Whatever we have, whatever we gain, whatever we learn, we are ready to share with the world. And our scriptures are extremely rich. And that is one of the reasons why the whole world and the United Nations has accepted 21st June as the International Day of Yoga. That is also the reason why the 2nd October has been taken as the International Day of Nonviolence. We would like to develop economically, but for us, it is not the end in itself. And I am glad that Initiative on Global Development will play an important role in this vision, in this final goal. I wish them all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manoj. Those were very pertinent comments. As the head priest, I now propose to conduct the marriage ceremony, after which I shall declare DFID and RIS man and wife, or in the LGBT age partners. That's the more appropriate expression. So, Sachin, may I please request you now with Gavin? Maybe have your presence. Yes. How can you do without the head priest? Manoj,
I hope it was not rambling.
not at all. Not at all, and thank you for coming. So thank you very much for your patience. If we can now proceed to the consummation of the marriage, I was going to say, but anyway. Panel, I think the marriage thing has been overdone now, so I should stop. Panel discussion on contours of initiative on global development. I'd like to request Ambassador Amar Sinha, Distinguished Fellow RIS, to begin the proceedings. Amar, you have the floor.
Well, after the wedding, I thought there will be a period of honeymoon, but that was short. I guess we get back to work. Can I invite Mr. Philip Parham, Professor Anuradha Chinoy to join us here, and Dr. Rajesh Tandon. And where is Dr. This panel is going to discuss contours of initiative on global development. And Mr. Philip Parham is UK's envoy to the Commonwealth. Professor Chinoy is the chairperson of FIDC, as Sachin had explained. And Dr. Rajesh Tandon is president of what I could call a civil society organization. It's called Participatory Research in Asia, PRIA. And of course, he's also part of the FIDC, and they are all close collaborators of RIS on the work that we do here. We have, in the presentation, DG has explained the contours of how we look at this Global Development Center, its various aspects. And here, in fact, we would want comments and observations from the three panelists. Perhaps we'll start with Mr. Philip Parham, UK's envoy to Commonwealth. The floor is yours, Mr. Parham.
Thank you very much indeed, and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here and to have this opportunity, and of course, a privilege to be here at the launch of this initiative. It's fantastic to see two great democracies being partners together and sharing their experience and expertise in delivering successful development both at home and overseas. And for me, in my role as the UK's envoy to the Commonwealth, of course, it's particularly pleasing to see the potential role of the Commonwealth reflected in the proposals. And India alone accounts for around half the population of the Commonwealth and a quarter of its GDP. But more importantly, for the purposes of today and this discussion and this initiative, the experience of India in delivering development successfully in a vibrant democratic context is an inspiration and an example to many countries, regardless of their level of development. And it's the potential to share that success in partnership with the UK and others, which has inspired the launch of this initiative, as we heard from the first panel. In that context, it's important to emphasize the network of the Commonwealth, the network which it has to offer as a means to share that experience and expertise in development. Its network, ranging right across the globe and including countries of difference in type and size from Nauru to India. If we look at the list of areas that are being contemplated for the work of this joint initiative and the work that RIS has set out, it's very striking how much overlap there is with the commitments that were made by the heads of government at the Commonwealth Summit in London in April. And if we just look at some of those, there were four headings under which the heads of government in London in April set out commitments: prosperity, sustainability, fairness, and security. And if we look at some of the specifics on health, where the heads committed, for example, to halving the incidence of malaria in the Commonwealth, and 90% of the Commonwealth populations live in malaria-affected countries, halving the incidence of malaria in the Commonwealth by 2023, and removing blindness through trachoma as a public health challenge in the Commonwealth entirely by 2020. Youth. Youth was a theme which ran through the whole of the Commonwealth Summit, and specific commitments from the heads on, for example, the creation of employment opportunities for youth, and of course on education, the commitment to 12 years of quality education for all children throughout the Commonwealth by 2030. And the UK itself, over this 2-year period between Commonwealth summits, while we, the UK, are the chair in office of the Commonwealth, the UK has committed over £200 million to work in 9 Commonwealth countries, specifically to ensure 12 years of quality education for girls. And that connects with the point about gender equality, again, another theme which is, as we saw from the first panel, given prominence by RIS